Hi, welcome to our presentation. We are working on a finance management app, and our team members are myself, Laila, Kate, and Anusha. Some facts about our internship is that it was 100% virtual. The duration was less than a month, starting from July 6th to July 31st. And the team members, myself, Kate, and Anusha, were picked randomly by Code Day staff to a mentor, and we have different backgrounds and experiences. And the prompt of our project that was given to us by our mentor, Grace, is building an app that's open-ended, full-stack app that focuses on the prompt. As a student, my life would be easier if I had ... So an app that would make students' lives easier in some way.
So the idea my team came up with, hi, my name is Kate, was a finance management app. And the problem that we wanted to help solve was the lack of education or coverage in economics and finance in middle and high school years. So as students, we realized that we don't really learn really fundamental skills such as saving for different items like laptops for college. You don't learn how to do taxes, but these are all a part of our daily life. So our solution was an interactive finance app for teachers who hopefully have more experience with all this stuff. They can create scenarios to cultivate thinking about real life budgeting. And so what they do, the teachers, they just add a scenario, and then the students, they'll log into the app and save it, and then they're able to learn what they find interesting. And yeah, so the app can be used in a regular classroom setting in an after-school programs, and it's really useful. So the languages we used to code this project were Python 3, Django, SQLite 3, HTML5, and CSS3, and they're all listed on the left. And on the right are all the tools we used. So we all use Visual Studio Code to combine the languages. We communicated through Slack and Discord. And then we also collaborated on the app from remote locations using Git or GitHub. And then we used the Agile methodology to manage the project and complete it. And we wireframed and designed the logo using Figma and Canva.
And why do we use Django for our app is because Django is a full stack framework that takes care of the front end and the back end database, so that the developers can focus on building the app instead of features such as like the admin page that Django takes care of on its own. Also, minimal installations were needed to run the app for us. So Django is a library within Python. So just installing the latest version of Python, which is 3.8, was good enough. And also pip installations took care of the packages and dependencies needed to run our app. Also, SQLite is Django's default database, but also other SQL frameworks are compatible with Django, such as Postgres, which we want to learn more about. Some sites that are made with Django are Pinterest, Instagram, and Udemy. On to the lessons we learned from working on our app. First one, clearing Google Chrome caches is very helpful. I saw this when I tried adding a new image to the app and running the server, and I still saw the old image. And just by clearing Google Chrome caches, that took care of that error. Also, having a virtual environment for each Python project is very important because when I had two different Python projects open, let's say the Django tutorial and then another Python tutorial that I was trying to learn, running both of them simultaneously will cause an error unless working in separate virtual environments. Another thing that I ran into very quickly was assuming that Django is just like Python, where actually Django is a very big library in Python, and you need to learn Django on its own to understand the different components. So we did the tutorial that's included with the Django documentation that's very well written and easy to follow. And that gave us a fundamental understanding of models PY, views PY, and URLs PY, and how all those different components are working together to make your app do simple things and show the user something on your front end. Another thing was in working on the tutorial, we were working only in one app, but then in our actual app, as we'll see in a little bit, I have two different apps, a main one and a register one, and the register app is taking care of the forms. And yeah, just learning how the different apps communicate and what needs to be included in their different models PYs and views PYs. Also, every time a change is made in models PY, there needs to be a migration to store that new information in Django's database. This was fine when we were working on our own, but when it came to collaborating our code, migrating our code on our repository in GitHub, it threw errors. So in order to take care of this, because of a shortage of time, we ended up deleting our database and the migration files, then ran the app and ran our server, and then added the database and migrations back in. Also, the database in Django works just like any kind of SQL database. So every object has a primary key. So when it came to deleting or updating an object, which for us and our app, it's a scenario list, it's important to call that object by its primary key. Otherwise, there's going to be confusing errors because your database doesn't know which object you're referring to. Another thing was the importance of logging errors, because a few times Django threw errors that couldn't really be solved that easily just by looking on Stack Overflow or researching on Google. So having a line coded as a logging error will show you the line that you can think more about and make your debugging process a lot easier and hopefully shorter. And lastly, formatting the HTML for styling the front end was a learning process for us as well. Here in Visual Studio Code are the way we have our folders set up. So there is a virtual environment, the outside directory called my site, and a git ignore, which has files that we don't want to see every time we make new commits into our branch. So inside of the my site directory is the inner my site folder, which has the URLs PY, and then main and register apps are what we added. Here's the migrations folder. Right now there is only one file in there. Templates directory has base HTML, which extends styling to all the other HTML pages, and that's why when you look at our app, all the pages have the same frame and same look. Also, the static directory holds the style CSS file and our images. And admin PY is where the classes need to be registered. This is our models PY, where the classes that live in our database were created. We have a class scenario list, class scenario, class user, and class student. Views.py is basically what the user sees on the front end when they go to the app. So in the return render, we're calling the HTML that has to do with this specific function. And also in the register app, register HTML, this is the code for creating a new account, and Django has this form feature that knows by just writing a few lines of code, which is simple HTML code, to create a form like creating a new account kind of form for the user. And here's the login HTML. And now looking at our app, when we run the server through Visual Studio Code, through this URL number, this is our home page, and the logo on the left-hand side directs you to the home page. And if I log in as a teacher, I can go to the create new scenario list page. I can view the scenario list and add one if I want to. And I can look at the students page. Right now, there are no safe scenarios. Now let's say I log out as the teacher and log back in as a student. As a student, when I go to the create a new scenario list page, I get an error or a message that I need to be logged in as a teacher. And I go to the scenario list page, I'm able to select one and save it, but as you can see, I'm not able to add one like the teachers are able to. So if I, let's say, select what different types of bank accounts are there and save it, and then go to the student page, under save scenarios, I see that save scenario, and I see an option or an answer for it as well. if I log out and log in as an admin or myself as a super user, and over here, if I direct the path to admin page, under users, I see all the teachers and students that are saved into the database, and I can even check. So if I click on the same student, Sarah, it shows that she's a student and she's active because she's logged in. Under scenario lists, I see the 2 scenario lists that were created by a teacher and the different scenarios. And now Kate will talk a little bit about the styling.
Yeah, so for the styling, I wanted to make it as minimalistic as possible because I wanted to make it user-friendly and easy to navigate. So I wanted to also make this app appealing visually to students and teachers, and I know students, they like graphics. So I included some graphics, and I made the color palette contrasting colors, but I also wanted to make sure they had a similar style, so I included pastel colors. And then the thing I had most trouble with, earlier Laila did mention that it was formatting, and I definitely had a lot of trouble formatting. It took a lot of trial and error, but in the end, it worked out, and I hope to add more features in the future. But yeah, so I just wanted to make this app as visually appealing as possible so that everyone has a easy experience walking through it. And yeah.
Okay, and what's next for our app? Based on what Kate just explained, we just want to add on to the animations and make the app more interactive and more interesting for students to view, and also hopefully for students to be able to show their own answers on the students page. Right now they see the answers that's shown to them picked by the teachers, but that's something we want to add on. Also, we want to deploy our app to Heroku so that all of our database is stored in the cloud. Finally, we want to thank our wonderful mentor, Grace. She helped us endlessly with our code and was there to listen to us the entire time of the internship, and also the Code Day staff for this amazing learning opportunity and just selecting us to work on a project with a really helpful mentor.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.